Talking about smartphones and age today, something, and cell phones in general and age, something that I get asked a million times a day, a week. It's a big, huge, hot topic, something that has a lot of debate around it. I've asked my friend, super smart, nerdy, smart, nerdy is cool, Julie here.
Nerdy is cool.
A little bit of background on you and why I picked you, aside from you're my favorite.
Well, I pay her a lot to be her favorite. No. So my background is cybersecurity. So we've brought, in my day job, I brought Katie to come in to do business presentations for the company I work for to get parents to learn more about being safe online. Because it's similar tactics that target children can target adults. So there's a big connection in that world.
Right.
So we bring her in. It's like they're going to be our fourth year, I think, this year. And every year, right, she said, and if anyone's ever attended any of her presentations, she talks about, doing, having kids being safe online, many different ways, different apps, things like that. But the one that really stuck out to me was the flip phone and using the flip phone, right, for kids.
Right.
So for me, I was like, all right, that's interesting. And I wanted to kind of...
Right, because there's a little pushback on it because my thought process is, and there's a lot of data coming out now about how... if we delay access, it may be healthier for our kids, and that these are really complex, smartphones are really complex tools that we're just handing over to our kids in fourth grade. The average age is that kids in the United States get their own smartphone is 10.4 years old. A lot of the research will suggest that, and there's a lot of campaigns now, like the Wait Until 8th campaign, that if we wait to get our kids smartphones, if we can delay that access, it's healthier for their underdeveloped brains because of this really complex tool. And so my suggestion has always been, well, here's an alternative, because I do see the need, right, which we'll talk about in a minute. I do see the need for kids to have access, or for you to have access, because in emergency situations, if you want to have contact with them because you're late, because they're late, you want to make sure they're okay, riding their bikes around the neighborhood, whatever, that I understand that need. So why do we need a full-blown smartphone? Why can't we do a flip phone? So that has been my suggestion. I've talked to a lot of families that have used it and used it well. Although it's interesting, when I make this suggestion, I see a lot of like confused looks. People are like, oh, A, I didn't know that still existed.
I forgot about the flip phone, right?
B, I feel like it would not be so convenient because I just have an old iPhone upstairs. And C, my kids are going to hate me because it's not cool. It looks really nerdy and lame, which who cares? But that's my own thing. So Julie, because she's argumentative, just kidding, because she's way smarter than I am, came back and was like, well, I've been thinking about this, we've been going through this with my daughter, not our daughter, your daughter, but go ahead and get into that.
Yeah, so I think my perspective too on this isn't necessarily like the pediatric academy for wanting to avoid it. Right. To be honest, I come from a security background, so for me it was about the data that's being shared, and I can see the effects of kids sharing their information or parents sharing their children's information on their behalf, and then that's staying with them, right, forever. And, it means different things in my field, but for all of those reasons, I have limited and will not allow social media, specifically with my kids. For,
right. And you're really good about that too.
Time to be determined. Oh, personally, I personally, don't share a lot.
Right.
But so from that being said, the problem that I'm solving with this is specific. And my problem was that I wanted to be able to get in touch with my daughter when I wanted to, period. So everything that I did was boiling it back right down to that one problem and to kind of come up with that solution. So what I ended up doing, I said, let's go. All right, Katie, I'm challenging. I'm taking the Katie Greer challenge. I did. And I said, let's do this. So I, my husband and I had talked about the fact that we wanted to introduce some kind of communication device to solve this problem. So we went and we talked.
Burner phone?
There was no burner phone that was going to happen.
Just for drug dealers, yeah.
Just right. On principle alone, I could not go and get a burner phone.
By the way, a burner phone is
a phone that you that doesn't have any attributes that tie it back to one person.
Right.
Right. So you can essentially go and buy minutes on any device.
Right. It's for drug dealers, really. Okay.
Right.
Just kidding.
But a lot of parents,
right.
I know,
Just kidding.
who do
Just kidding.
use it.
Right.
Right.
There are parents that use it. Sorry.
So
I
there
shouldn't
are.
say
But
that.
for
Right.
me, from a humor standpoint, that was kind of my perspective.
Right.
So in any case, we approached it. My husband, was totally game for getting some kind of communication device
Right.
for our child. He was leaning towards
Who's how old, by the way? Did we say?
Who?
How old is your daughter?
My daughter. She's in 4th grade.
4th grade. Okay.
So it was one of those things where, his solution to it was we have smartphones for free sitting in a box. Let's use those, right? And I was not for that. So I needed to come up with a different solution. Obviously, the flip phone came about because it's been drilled into our heads from Katie here. So we started doing a little bit of research, and he went down to the cell store, and they came back and said, yeah, it's great. You have to get your monthly payment, plus you have to have your renter fee or whatever. That's how I refer to it.
Yeah.
And it was just frustrating because I'm like, a flip phone is $50. Like I can pay you the $50 and I don't want it, but they don't allow it at this particular one.
And I remember having a conversation with you right after this happened. You're like, and this is how this all kind of came about. And she was like, whoa. You can't just go to the store and be like, I want an iPhone or I want a flip phone. It's not that easy. And I've heard this from other parents too, that the cell phone companies probably intentionally make this really hard because they would much rather you buy your daughter a $600 smartphone that you pay with a data plan that she'll probably go over and all that other stuff. So it's not easy from the smartphone or for the cell phone companies to go buy these in general. So I think that was important to know.
Right. So that was a big piece of it. And in retrospect, it really wasn't all that difficult. I mean, we ended up going online and just buying it outright. So,
on like Amazon.
Right. And so it just, came and then we just went
How
down
much?
$50 maybe.
Okay. All right.
And there's different, and I didn't do a lot of research on it because I had to I was under a clock at this point.
Right.
I was fighting the iPhone. So I went and I just grabbed one and we used it, and it's been great. So I think when we introduced it to my daughter, it was a privilege. So that was a big thing for me.
One thing, was she annoyed, angry? Because sometimes when I mention the flip phone to parents, or middle school parents will sit there and they'll be like, ugh, my kids would kill me if I showed up with a flip phone and it's so not cool and it's not what everyone else has. Was she any pushback? It's individual obviously, but any pushback on that end?
So no, there was, and I kind of was expecting it, to be honest with you. I found that even talking to other parents in the school and just people that I know with similar age, they're kind of on that fence. And this is the perfect solution, especially for this age, because not everybody has them at this age. They are all starting to ask for it. And again, I kept coming back to my problem. My problem was I wanted to get my kid when they're out. Your
problem wasn't that your daughter wants to be social and that you need to get her phone because everyone else is social.
Right. I was totally, And that's what I kept saying to her. It's kind of our mantra at work was always yes, but here's how. So here's the problem you've given me, and here's the solution. And it meets all of the criteria.
Right.
But most important for me is I get so frustrated when kids are out playing and they're all on their phones.
Yeah.
And I know we hear that day in and day out, but I will tell you that if it's a smartphone, the flip phone fits in their back pocket.
Right.
And that was the other thing. If you're riding your bike or doing some kind of physical activity, it's bound to fall out and crack. Right. There's no data on this thing that I have to worry about, that you would, if any of us lose our smartphones, it's an appendage.
Yeah, right.
So even if you back it up, it doesn't matter. There's still stuff on your phone.
So people can have access to.
Right.
Camera on this phone?
There is.
Okay.
I don't know that you can get them without.
Right, yeah, good point.
To be honest. But she doesn't use it.
Okay. So when you got it, you didn't just put a bow in it and were like, love you, honey, happy birthday. Right, there were parameters around it, which I think is really, really, really important if you decide to get a smartphone for your kid or if you decide to go the flip phone route, because like you said, you made her excited about it and acted like this is a big privilege. This is not just a toy that you get to use whenever you want. So what are some of the things you put around the parameters around this?
So with this one, it is not her phone. That's number one, right? So it was it's the family cell phone, if you will, though she's the only one who would really use it at this point. Okay. So so we said it's not her. So we took ownership away.
Okay.
And it gets turned off and put in a cabinet where it turned off, off, not just charging. No.
Right.
Because by the way, you might have forgotten, But these phones, their charge lasts for like a week.
That's right. Good point.
Right? It's
Good
a
point.
magical
That's
world
right.
that we live in.
We all need to bring flip phones
I'm
back.
saying it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was magical.
Right.
So it gets turned off and it gets put back, and then she has to ask every time.
Right.
And the only people who have the phone number are myself and my husband, and those are the only numbers in her phone
Okay.
that she can call. So it's like a walkie-talkie but more secure.
Right. So you think for you, it wasn't the easiest thing to do up front. How much do you pay a month, do you think?
Maybe $20.
Okay, so you just add it
It's just
onto your phone.
just an added line.
And you think it's been an awesome solution, one that she's happy with, one that
Yeah.
you're happy with. And I think it's important that it's a teachable moment. It's an introduction to what will come later on when
Absolutely.
she's 72 and can have a smartphone.
Maybe 80.
Okay. And you can really kind of teach her about the established rules in your house too, right? That, and I always say this all the time, the earlier you establish these rules in your house and make it clear what your expectations are, the easier it's going to be. Because if you were to just like hold off and give her a smartphone when she was in high school, then you'd have to be like retraining about all the stuff that this is mine, not yours, that there are parameters around this, that you can't just be taking pictures, you can't just have this all night in your bedroom and stuff like that. So
I agree.
I think it's a solution for your problem.
Right.
And
It's a solution for that problem.
That's right.
So I can't say it's going to work for everybody as
Right.
seamless, but
Right.
my problem was that. So if anybody out there has a similar problem, that did work really, really well.
And that's something I talk to parents about too. I'll be like, okay, tell me the need. What is the need here, right? What do we need when it comes to these smartphones and having our kids have access to phones? And the need is emergency situation and communication. And that's it. Sometimes they'll be like an alarm because they need an alarm in the morning. And I'm like, hit me up. I will Amazon Prime the heck out of an alarm to you that's $2.99.
Wait, did they forget about flip phones like they did alarm clocks?
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah, that there's no such thing. Yeah, right. That they need their iPhone for an alarm in the morning. There are a lot of parents laughing right now because it's so true. And another one is music, that they need it for music.
oh my God, you know what's so funny? Those alarm clocks I was talking about, they have radios.
I know, right? I know. Bring them back. Like, we're on old school.
Right now it's retro.
Right, yeah, it is retro.
That's so that's how you get your kids into this.
That's right,
It's
right.
a retro phone.
Yes, it's not old school.
It's not old.
Right.
It's not like it's the new.
It's not
hip.
pixely.
What would be
It's not,
pixely?
I'm saying it's like fancier
Oh, it's
inside.
so sleek.
Yes, shiny,
Thin.
different colors.
It's not like an iPad that you call a phone. That's
Right.
like nope.
Yes.
Super.
Some of them have a
stealth.
digital front.
Yep.
Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Does she have one? No.
Listen, if I could have gotten a more stripped down version, I would have.
That's so awesome. Okay, so there you have it. Doesn't work for every family. Does not work the same in every situation. But I love that Julie kind of pushed back on this and was like, whoa. It's not as easy as you think. We decided to make this kind of a little experiment, walking through kind of the steps of this process. That it has worked for you. It's been a good solution and to be continued, I guess. So thanks for being so smart.
Happy
and
to be
secure
smart
and
and
safe
secure.
and witty.
And everyone, don't reuse your password.
Oh my, stop it. All right, thanks.